Okay, mes amis, s'il vous plaît, prenez vos notes. We are going to do some notes on la révision du passé composé. Now, you guys already know how to do this. I'm just teaching you the logistics behind it now, the rules. So here we go. If I go a little bit too quick, this is a video, so feel free to go back and get any notes that you missed. Okay, la définition. The passé composé is the most common past tense used in the French language. It's used to describe a completed action, so an action that's over. You did this last year. Je suis allé au café. I went to the cafe. J'ai pris un café. I had a coffee. And the most important rule that you need to remember is that it consists of two words and both of them are verbs. So this is called a complex verb tense. It has two verbs. You need two things in order to make it work. And the passé composé is formed just like this. It'll look familiar to you. You have the subject. You need to choose between avoir or être, which we just studied, and then you have the past participle. The past participle is the action. So keywords that you need. The subject is the doer of the action. So it can be je, tu, elle, il, nous, vous, Sophie, Sophie et Claire, Madame Reed. It's the person or the people or the things that are doing the action. Le chien, la chat. The helping verb is either avoir or être, and there are rules and you will learn them. And the past participle is the action word, like téléphoner, bu, sortir, aller, pris, nager, rencontrer, vu. You know tons of them already. Most verbs in French, when you form them in the passé composé, they use avoir as their helping verb. So avoir, the forms are j'ai, nous avons, tu as, and vous avez, il or elle a, and il or elles ont. And you actually combine those together to make it nous avons with a Z sound, vous avez with a Z sound, ils ont, and elles ont. A couple more rules. For regular verbs that end in ER. Now, I know we just studied how to conjugate those. You take off the ER and you add the E. You take off the ER, you add the ONS. For these verbs in the past tense, you take off the ER and you add the E with the accent aigu. For verbs that end in IR, you take off the IR and you add an I. And for verbs that end in RE, you take off the RE and you add a U. Don't ask me why. I know it's strange. And here are the most common irregular verbs. Now, I hate to say it. I know you don't want to hear it, but you've got to memorize these. We'll practice them over and over. You'll notice that you're going to be using them tons of times. It'll just start becoming natural for you. But don't be afraid to use your notes. So, s'asseoir, it turns into assis, and it means to sit. Avoir turns into eu, to have. So I had, j'ai eu. Boire, you already know this one, turns into bu, to drink, or in the past tense, drink. Conduire turns into conduit, and it means to drive. Connaître turns into connu, and this is what you use when you know someone. So, j'ai connu Madame Lopez. I knew Madame Lopez. Courir turns into couru, to run. Croire turns into cru, to believe. Devoir turns into dû with the circumflex, and to have to. So I had to. J'ai dû téléphoner à ma mère. I had to telephone my mom. Dire turns into dit, to say. Écrire turns into écrit, to write. Être turns into été, to be. To be. Faire turns into fait, and it means to do or to make. J'ai fait mes devoirs. I did my homework. J'ai fait un gâteau. I made a cake. Lire turns into lu, to read. Mettre turns into mis, to put or to place. Ouvrir turns into ouvert, to open. Peindre turns into peint, to paint. Pleuvoir turns into plu, to rain. Pouvoir turns into pu. It's not pu, pu with pursed lips, pu, to be able. Prendre turns into pris, to take. Recevoir turns to reçu, to receive. Rire turns into ri, to laugh. Savoir turns into su, and this is what you use when you're talking about knowing a fact. I know 2 + 2 = 4. Suivre turns into suivi, and it means to follow. Tenir changes into tenu, to hold. Vivre turns into vécu, to live. Voir, any guesses? It turns into vu, and it means to see. Vouloir turns into voulu, to want.